We're always talking about the product, the market, the funding, but what if the biggest reason startups actually succeed or fail is something we barely talk about? Well, today, we're digging into that hidden killer, the thing that really decides a company's fate, the team itself.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll shine a light on this hidden killer. Then, we'll figure out how to diagnose the common dysfunctions. After that, we're going to borrow some blueprints from the world's absolute best teams, give you a practical toolkit you can use, and finally, look at the hard numbers, the real ROI that proves this stuff isn't just fluff.
All right, first up, let's uncover this hidden killer. And this is where we need to kind of flip the script on how we think. For years, the mantra has been product market fit, but the real foundation, it's something else entirely.
Take a look at this number, 65%. Just let that sink in for a second. What do you think that is? I'll tell you what it's not. It's not the percentage of startups that run out of money. It's not the ones that build a product nobody wants. Nope, it's way more personal than that.
That's right. Almost 2/3 of really promising companies don't fail because of the market or the tech. They literally implode from the inside. It comes down to co-founder fights, team drama, and a fundamental breakdown in how people work together.
And that brings us to this huge concept, founder-team fit. The idea here is that before you even worry about finding a market for your product, you have to build a team that can actually survive the brutal journey of building a company. Because once you start growing, you're not just making a product anymore, you're building an organization.
Okay, so if we know team conflict is the killer, the big question is, how do we spot it before it's too late? That brings us right to our next section, diagnosing the dysfunctions. We have to understand the root causes of why so many teams just fall apart under pressure.
This quote just nails it. You know you're in trouble when people on your team are more worried about how their idea is going to land than whether it's the right idea. That fear, that tendency to play politics instead of speaking your mind, that's a massive red flag.
And it all comes together in this framework. It's like a pyramid of failure, and it builds from the bottom up. See, it all starts with an absence of trust. When people don't feel safe enough to be vulnerable, they develop a fear of conflict, so they never have the passionate debates that lead to the best ideas. That then leads to a lack of commitment, because hey, why would you commit to an idea you never really debated? And from there, an avoidance of accountability, because no one's going to call each other out on a plan they never really bought into. And at the very top, the whole thing just collapses into an inattention to results, where everyone's just looking out for themselves instead of winning as a team.
Okay, that's enough of the doom and gloom. How do we actually build teams that don't do that? Let's flip this around and look at some blueprints from some of the most elite teams on the planet.
Let's start with Google. They ran this huge study called Project Aristotle to figure out the secret sauce of their top teams. And after crunching all the data, the number one thing that predicted success wasn't who was on the team, it was psychological safety. It's that feeling, that deep belief that you can speak up, throw out a crazy idea, or even admit a mistake without getting shut down or punished. When teams have that, they just perform better, period. Now, Salesforce, they take a totally different approach with their 1-1-1 model. They get their teams to volunteer together, building empathy and connection in a setting that has nothing to do with deadlines or deliverables. It's about connecting as people, not just as coworkers. And then you have this incredible model from Israel's Elite Tech Intelligence Unit, Unit 820. So many of Israel's top startups come from this unit's alumni. Why? It's what they call a shared hardship history. These founders have already been through intense, high-stakes situations together. They have this military-grade trust baked in before day one of the startup.
All right, so inspired by the best, let's get practical. This section is all about your team building toolkit. Real, simple things you can literally start using with your team today. But first things first, we got to clear something up. People throw around team building and team bonding like they're the same thing, but they're not. Team building is about getting better at the work. Communication, problem solving. Think of a ropes course. We have to work together to succeed. Team bonding, on the other hand, is about social connection, getting to know each other as people. Think a casual team dinner. You absolutely need both, but you got to know which one you're aiming for.
And the great news is, there's a tool for every job. Just need to get people talking, try 2 truths and a wish. Need to work on communication? A game like Minefield is amazing for that. Need to practice collaboration under pressure? Human Knot is a classic. Or want to spark some creativity? Try Movie Pitch Icebreaker. The trick is just matching the activity to your goal.
I mean, take the Human Knot. It sounds a little silly, right? But it's this brilliant miniature version of a complex project. Everyone's tangled up, Everyone has a different perspective, and the only way to solve it is with crystal clear communication and trusting each other. It's a perfect metaphor. All right, and now for the part that really gets everyone's attention, the real ROI of connection. Look, for too long, team building has been dismissed as a soft skill or a nice to have, but the hard data shows it's actually one of the smartest investments a company can make.
I mean, the numbers really speak for themselves. You can see right here. Companies that are intentional about this stuff see huge payoffs. Productivity jumps by 20 to 25%, employee turnover gets slashed by up to half, and projects get delivered 30% faster. This isn't about feelings, this is about bottom line results.
But what does that actually look like as a return on investment? Well, how about this number? 7.5x.
And no, that number isn't just pulled out of thin air. There's a documented case study that found a well-designed program delivered a 7.5 times return on what was spent. And it did that by directly improving retention, productivity, and collaboration. That's a massive win. This quote from the classic book, The Wisdom of Teams, just sums it all up perfectly. The goal isn't to have a bunch of people who just happen to work at the same place. The goal is to build real teams, because that's the fundamental place where amazing work actually happens.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. When a company starts to grow, it stops being just a product. It becomes an organization, a living, breathing system of people. So the real question is, what are you actually building? Are you just building a product, or are you building the team that can build anything?